Eid Mubarak and welcome to Kaleidoscope, where we are positive, daring, different. As nations around the world near the end of a month-long fast, here's a glimpse of some of the world's greatest mosques. The Grand Mosque is in the holy city of Mecca and is the world's largest mosque. For sheer size, there were 1.2 million worshippers there last week. The Zahir Mosque is one of the oldest in Malaysia. The Al Fateh Grand Mosque is the largest place of worship in Bahrain. The Kamilka Mosque in Turkey is also massive, can hold 63,000 people and has 70 domes. And the St. Petersburg Mosque is the largest one in Europe outside Turkey and is probably one of the most beautiful. To our brilliant partners on the show, Skills for Inclusive Growth and Australian Aid, Srilanka Life, CDB, The Daily Morning and Made by Her. Thank you. And if you like Kaleidoscope, just like us and subscribe, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn.
You can now start a CDB iDeposit digital fixed deposit and experience a range of special benefits from CDB.
Looking back at the week that was on CDB Snapshot. As we start off our debt talks, First Capital brings us promising news that Sri Lanka will come out of the IMF program with $14 billion in foreign reserves. The IMF says Sri Lanka's gross debt hit a record high of 117.7% of GDP in 2022. Forbes lists Sri Lanka as one of its 23 best places to travel in 2023. Melbourne overtakes Sydney as Australia's most populated city, thanks to a redrawing of state borders. Actor Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was also California's former governor, gets his hands dirty filling a pothole in his LA neighborhood after authorities neglected it for 3 weeks. And 3 aerospace engineers set the world record for the furthest flight by a paper airplane at a grand total of 88 meters.
You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. Srilanka Life.
Welcome to Srilanka Life News Capsule. 1990. It's all about saving lives. The 1990 Suasari ambulance service has been lauded for being the most efficient government service, averaging 5,300 calls, handling 1,050 cases with a 98.9% answer rate on the first ring over a distance of 25,000 kilometers every single day. But all is not well at 1990 Suasaria. While the government funds the service, there is a shortfall which is vital to ensure a quality service is maintained. And hence, a plea went out to corporates and individuals to adopt an ambulance. Joining Kaleidoscope today is Chairman of 1990 Suasaria Foundation, Dumindra Ratnayaka. What is special about the 1990 ambulance service?
So the 1990 is all about saving lives, right? That's our motto. To save lives, to be efficient at it, we work hard. We try to improve on our average response time. We now maintain 11.5 minutes across Sri Lanka. That's world class, right? We answer our calls, 99% of our calls are answered in the first ring, right? That's world class.
Now you want corporates, individuals to adopt an ambulance. What was the reason behind this?
We are funded by the government because there's an act and that act requires the government to fund us. And we have had no issues because the government recognizes our service. But then unfortunately last year was a bad year because of the country's situation, and this year is a bad year. Inflation has hit us very badly, so our costs have gone up. Our ask is 3.9 billion to run this service for a year. The Treasury is only able to give us 2.5 billion. So we are short 1.5 billion, and we thought rather than running the service only for 6 or 9 months or running the service at a lower service level, we'll go to the corporates and we'll go to the individuals who would like to donate. So we came up with this concept, we are short 1.5 billion, we have 300 ambulances, divide 1.5 billion by 300, we'll get 5 million. So we said adapt an ambulance for 5 million. It's not that it costs us 5 million to maintain an ambulance. It's the cost of maintenance, it's the cost of training, it's the cost of medical equipment maintenance, it's the cost of licensing fees. See, it covers everything. So the funds that we raise will go to a pool, right? And then we will use it, to cover the shortfall that we are having from the government. The response has been lovely and believable. In a period of less than 1.5 months, we've almost raised 600 million. I think no one has ever done that in this country. So that just shows something. It says that the corporate sector believes in us, what we do. We build a credibility on the fact that we are the most efficient, I would say the most efficient government service ever. We have got unqualified audit reports continuously from the Auditor General. That is because we are very transparent, we are very clean, we don't have any issues in our accounts. We manage according to the rule, and I think that's why the corporates and individuals are happy to give us their money without a second question.
The new year hasn't brought much of a harvest to our markets this week. Sri Lanka's high interest rates continue to deter upward movement of the all-share price index, which remains static, while daily average turnover levels plunged. WTI oil prices fell slightly this week to just above $80 per barrel as the US dollar strengthened with expectations of a May interest rate hike by the United States. Gold prices remain steady, above $2,000 an ounce, still close to the one-year highs achieved last week. Education is a gift we give future generations, and Srilanka Life is doing just that. The children of a primary school in Horana now have a purpose-built classroom, the 85th classroom in a series of classrooms constructed across the country. While Srilanka Life invested 1.35 million rupees in construction material, the community came together to build this place of learning for 305 children who are now very excited with their new learning space. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is now so huge, 620,000 square miles, in fact twice the size of the state of Texas, that a permanent coastal ecosystem is thriving on it. So we can't get rid of that garbage after all. Today on S4IG Let's Talk, we are in conversation with the powerhouse of innovation and entrepreneurship, Shobha Purushottamam, co-founder of Hard Skills and 2 other startups with a 20-plus year track record of business and entrepreneurship innovation. Welcome to Sri Lanka and welcome to the program, Shobha. You know, your latest startup, Hard Skills, has a very interesting premise. How did you get into this?
What we found was that with all the interest in learning and skilling that was going on in the world, much of the focus was on technical and functional skills. But when we were talking to employers and to company heads and country heads, what they told us was the areas that people lacked were the so-called soft skills. How to communicate effectively, how to think critically to solve problems, how to influence people, etc. And so we thought, okay, that makes sense because all the so-called digital natives that are entering the workforce haven't really been trained on how to develop these human skills.
So it's teaching soft skills through hard skills.
Yes, teaching soft skills, which are the real hard skills.
So in a world where there's so much automation, robots are taking over, what's our plight? How do we stay relevant within this onslaught of ChatGPT and everything else that's going on?
Well, I think the way humans stay relevant is going to be accentuating their human skills, such as creativity, right? Such as innovative problem solving and communicating and building that human connection that makes that difference. Because what the robots are doing are really taking away tasks that humans don't want to do anymore, by and large, and don't need to do anymore. So I'm very positive, and I think we're seeing that in our own growth, that more and more employers are recognizing that they need to get their teams trained at scale on some of how, how to use their imagination to become more creative, how to think critically.
So, besides what you said, are there other skills that are important to develop to stay relevant?
The single biggest thing anybody can do now in the workforce is to understand how they can develop that open-mindedness that is able to ask why and why not. But the other skill that's becoming really important in a globalized world, right, and in a hybrid world is collaboration. The ability to really draw on other people, to think together as a team, and to solve complex issues with people that you may never ever meet in real life.
So, in our current economic climate, we've seen quite a few startups
Yeah.
happen. What do you think would be the formula for sustaining that startup?
Times of great economic uncertainty or downturns are a very fertile time to start a startup, right? Because there are problems that need to get solved that rise to the surface. So if you're a startup, I would say the single most important thing to secure is that first customer. And many, many startups fail because they think that first customer comes after you've got the product fully baked, you've got your marketing team, you've got your website, your brand, your logo. Actually, not necessary. That first customer can come very shortly after you've had the idea and established that somebody has that problem. So if you have an idea that is a better way, I think identifying that first customer and going to that customer and saying, here's my idea, do you think this would make a big difference? Get them to say yes. Then will you let me collaborate with you to get this product to market? Will you test this product? That is how we have started all our businesses.
Any words of advice, hard honesty to inspire the up and coming?
Stick with it, tenacity and perseverance. Fortune favors the brave and fortune favors those with staying power.
What happens when determination meets creativity? We get Harshi Batik, a truly unique and fascinating take on the Indonesian art and the Sri Lankan craft of batik by Yohantika Harshini Kumari. The award-winning designer is a partner of Made by Her, and she's now taken her dream to the next level. Here she is on Made by Her Life in 60. Born in Gampola, Yohantika Harshini Kumari pursued her dream to infuse the Indonesian and Sri Lankan craft of batik and to create her own experimental dyeing technique. Harshini's great talent displayed as she created a paper mache design for her advanced level project, led to her being recognized by the National Crafts Council and gain a presidential award for her creativity. She won a trip to Indonesia for her efforts, and it was on this trip where she saw and learned the craft of Indonesian batik, which she brought to Sri Lanka.
මම බතික් කලාව ඉගෙන ගන්නේ ජාතික ශිල්ප සභාව මහනුවර පොල්ගොල්ල මධ්‍යස්ථානයේ. අවුරුදු පුහුණු කාලයකින් පසුව ඒ තවත් පෙරුණකොට මම මගේම බතික් නිපැවුම් ව්‍යාපාරයක් ආරම්භ කිරීමට සමත් වුණා.
Harshini is truly an innovator. Her designs incorporate the traditional batik stylings from Indonesia as well as borrows the Sri Lankan touch of the craft and become truly beautiful products of creative experimentation. She adds natural dyes from trees, clay, soil, oils and other sources to create her brilliant designs as she seeks to create more durable clothing for her business.
හර්ෂ බතික් අපේම නිර්මාණ රූරට යොදා ගනිමින් ශ්‍රී ලාංකීය කාන්තා දෑතින් නිම කරන විස්තර බතික් නිර්මාණාත්මක නිෂ්පාදනය කරන ව්‍යාපාරයකි.
Harshini's inherent creativity has truly led her down a fantastic path. Her designs are vibrant, brilliant and exclusively a reflection of her own determination. Harshi Batik is a testament to Sri Lankan innovation and hard work, a super example of great entrepreneurship. Eid Mubarak and best wishes for Ramadan. We'll see you next week.